Have you ever pondered the complexity of relations between two neighboring nations, Russia and Ukraine? From the vast plains of Eastern Europe, two nations stand side by side, sharing a border that stretches over 2,000 kilometers. On one side, we have Russia, the largest country in the world, a titan of power and influence. On the other, Ukraine, a country rich in history, culture, and natural resources. Both nations share a common Slavic heritage, interweaving a tapestry of cultural, linguistic, and historical ties that date back centuries. The geographical proximity of these two nations has indeed forged an intricate relationship, a dance of unity and divergence, peace and conflict, filled with nuance and complexity. Their histories are intertwined, their destinies entangled in a web of shared experiences, mutual influences, and periods of discord. In the annals of history, there have been times of unity where these two nations have come together, standing shoulder to shoulder. They've shared in prosperity, weathered storms of adversity, and woven narratives of common purpose. Yet, there have also been periods of conflict, where differences in ideology, governance, and national identity have driven a wedge between them, sparking tensions that have sometimes escalated into open confrontation. The historical context of Russian-Ukrainian relations is a fascinating journey through the ebb and flow of power dynamics, cultural exchanges, and geopolitical maneuverings. It's a story that transcends borders, permeating the fabric of both nations, influencing their domestic policies and shaping their international standings. The interplay of unity and conflict in Russian-Ukrainian relations is a testament to the delicate balance that exists between neighboring nations with shared histories and divergent paths. It's a narrative that underscores the complexities inherent in international relations, the struggles for autonomy and influence, and the impact of historical events on present-day realities. Before we delve into the intricacies of their relations, we must understand their historical roots, which are often forgotten in the heat of current events. So, let's embark on this journey together, to unravel the enigma that is Russian-Ukrainian relations. The tale begins in the Soviet era, a period of forced unity and suppression. Once considered the breadbasket of Europe, Ukraine was incorporated into the Soviet Union in the early 20th century, becoming a vital cog in the Soviet industrial machine. But this union was far from harmonious. The Holodomor, a man-made famine in Ukraine from 1932 to 1933, saw millions perish under Stalin's brutal policies. Stalin sought to crush the spirit of the Ukrainian people, to suppress their longing for independence, and to consolidate Soviet power. His policies of forced collectivization led to widespread starvation and death. Ukraine's vibrant rural culture was decimated, its people forced into the factories and mines of the Soviet Union. This was a time of shared experiences, of hardship and of resilience. Yet, it was also a time when seeds of resentment were sown deep within the hearts of the Ukrainian people. The memory of the Holodomor, the loss of their cultural identity, and the suppression of their independence became ingrained in the Ukrainian psyche. A sense of unity was forged, not out of love for the Soviet Union, but out of a shared desire to survive and to one day reclaim their freedom. Stalin's policies, though they aimed to unify and strengthen the Soviet Union, had an unintended consequence. They stoked a flame of national consciousness within Ukraine. This flame, suppressed but never extinguished, would later ignite a desire for independence that would shake the very foundations of the Soviet Union. This period left a lasting impact on Ukrainian national identity and their relationship with Russia, a legacy that continues to influence events today. With the fall of the Iron Curtain came a new chapter in their history, one marked by independence and uncertainty. The year 1991 was a monumental one for Ukraine, as it declared independence from the crumbling Soviet Union. The dissolution of the Soviet Union not only signified the end of a historical era, but also heralded a period of profound economic and political challenges for the newly independent Ukraine. In the wake of independence, Ukraine found itself grappling with the remnants of a command economy and a political system deeply entrenched in Soviet ideologies. The transition to a market economy was far from smooth, with the country facing hyperinflation, a sharp drop in GDP, and a surge in unemployment. Political instability was also rampant as Ukraine grappled with establishing a democratic system amidst a legacy of authoritarian rule. Yet amidst these challenges, there was a duality in Ukraine's approach towards its future. On one hand, there was a pull towards its historical ties with Russia, a country that had been intimately intertwined with Ukraine's history, culture, and economy for centuries. On the other hand, there was the allure of Western democracy, with its promises of political freedom, economic prosperity, and integration into the global community. This duality manifested itself in various ways. Economically, Ukraine found itself reliant on Russia for energy supplies while also seeking to establish economic ties with the West. Politically, Ukraine oscillated between pro-Russian and pro-Western governments, reflecting the divided sentiments of its population. Historically, Ukraine had always been at the crossroads of East and West, and this period of independence and uncertainty was no different. The country found itself straddling two worlds, attempting to navigate a path that honored its historical ties while also embracing the possibilities of a new future. This era marked the start of a delicate balancing act for Ukraine, caught between the pull of its historical ties with Russia and the allure of Western democracy. As we move forward in our exploration of Russian-Ukrainian relations, we'll see how this delicate balancing act has played out in the ensuing decades. The 21st century brought with it escalating tensions and outright conflict. As we crossed into the dawn of the new millennium, the landscape of Russian-Ukrainian relations was painted with a tumultuous brush. The Orange Revolution took center stage, a beacon of hope for some, but a source of anxiety for others. In late 2004, the Orange Revolution erupted, a series of protests against corruption, human rights violations, and electoral fraud. A vivid display of Ukraine's yearning for a more democratic and transparent society. This was a thorn in Russia's side, a symbolic divergence from its sphere of influence. Then came the annexation of Crimea in 2014, a move that shocked the world and deepened the chasm between Russia and Ukraine. Russia's military intervention and subsequent annexation of the Black Sea Peninsula were met with international condemnation and a series of sanctions. Yet it also revealed the stark polarization within Ukraine's populace, with some hailing the annexation as a return to Russian roots, while others perceived it as a blatant violation of Ukraine's sovereignty. The ongoing conflict in eastern Ukraine further complicates matters. The Donbas region, a hotbed of pro-Russian sentiment, has been embroiled in a conflict that has claimed thousands of lives and displaced countless more. A battlefront where international actors are not merely spectators, but active participants, providing financial and military support to both sides. The role of these international actors cannot be overstated. The West, led by the United States and the European Union, has been vocal in its support for Ukraine, imposing sanctions on Russia and providing financial and military aid to the Ukrainian government. On the other hand, Russia, with its vested interest in maintaining influence over former Soviet states, has been equally assertive in its stance. Yet, amidst the turmoil, a question lingers. As the polarization within Ukraine's population increases, with some leaning towards the West and others towards Russia, where does the future of Russian-Ukrainian relations lie? In the face of these challenges, the future of Russian-Ukrainian relations remains uncertain. As we look to the future, the question remains, are we heading towards resolution or further escalation? In the grand chessboard of Russian-Ukrainian relations, the game is far from over. We stand at a crossroads with paths leading to peace or further discord. The future is a tangled web of possibilities, each thread influenced by a series of factors, all interwoven in a complex dance of geopolitics. Domestic politics play a pivotal role in this dance. In Russia, national pride and the narrative of a strong, defiant nation often fuel actions. Ukraine, on the other hand, grapples with its aspirations for a European identity while dealing with deep-seated corruption and economic challenges. The leaders that emerge in these nations will undoubtedly shape the course of their relations. Beyond the borders of these nations, international pressure continues to mount. The world watches, holding its breath as it waits for the next move. The West, led by the United States and the European Union, has shown its willingness to impose sanctions and offer support to Ukraine. Yet these actions can also provoke Russia, potentially escalating tensions further. In the midst of this, the roles of NATO and the EU are critical. NATO's possible expansion eastwards is a contentious issue seen by Russia as a direct threat. The EU, with its allure of economic prosperity and democratic values, remains an attractive prospect for Ukraine. Yet, these aspirations are not without their challenges and can inadvertently fuel the flames of conflict. The future of Russian-Ukrainian relations is akin to a high-stakes poker game, with each player carefully considering their next move. The stakes are high, and the potential outcomes are as diverse as they are uncertain. Yet amidst the chaos and complexity, one hope remains constant. While the path ahead is uncertain, the hope remains that dialogue and diplomacy will prevail, ensuring peace and stability for the people of both nations.